Hi, and welcome to another installment of Beginning Programming. Last time we looked at using AngularJS and RequireJS to create a modular system. I've gotten a few questions on how I work with several modules and how do I segment my application and how do I create folders and content and stuff like that, and that's what I want to show in this video. So let's just dive in. When we look at the code, we can see that I've made some changes compared to the last time I showed you the solution. So one of the things that changed is I created a server application, and this is just a simple Node.js with Express as a framework application I've added. And the second thing I did was I created two modules and put them into folders. So one is the theme folder and one is the core folder. My main JS is basically the same. The only difference is that I use a core module now. So let's run this application. As you can see, it is listening on port 1337, and we can see a hello world. So another thing you can see is that it broadcasts every time a module is initialized. So how did I do that? Well, one of the things that AngularJS has is it has a config phase and a run phase. And on this run phase, I just add a log item. So how would we refactor this in a normal application? I usually make a folder called runners, and these are runners that are going to be run by AngularJS once the application starts. And let's add a log runner. So we're going to define and require this in another part. So one of the things we do is we return my log and the function. Here we will output core module started. Okay, so how are we going to work with this? Well, inside of our core module, I now have this runner here, but we don't need that. We actually don't need it anywhere. But what we do need is we need a reference to that item. So we can make a reference to modules /core /runners /log runner. And we'll get that log runner function as a result. And now we can add core module.run log runner. This would be enough to actually run the core module started message. The same thing we can do with, for example, our controllers. So this home controller is something that we want to refactor into a separate file. So we'll make a folder called controllers, and inside of this folder we'll add a home controller. Now again, here we can define a function, and we can return. So one of the things you can do is you can either return the home controller or you can instantiate it. I'll show it with the instantiation first. So we can get the module. So this is a way to just get a module in with AngularJS. So we can call this core module. And here we can just add the function that we have here. And now this will have been registered, right? But one of the things we can't do is we can't specify it like we did here, because we need to instantiate our module before we attach these runners. So what we do is we require and now instead of putting this bootstrap in a set timeout, we can just move it into our handler. And as you can see, the home controller is now loaded, and the application is still bootstrapped in the right way. So this is the basic way to create your separation of your folders, your controllers, a run function. You can imagine a configuration of a service running in the same way. You can reference your services in this way as well. So one of the other things I do, because this can become a very long list of items, is I create something called controller references, which I define. And here I just return an array of dependencies. So here we have that modules / core / controllers / home controller, right? So now when we reference this, we can just reference it like this. Require and now we can require these references which we've passed in. And as you can see, the application still works. Well, that was it for this installment. I hope it has been clear on how I separate my modules and my controllers and my other stuff into little segments. Next time we're going to look at lazy loading of controllers and possibly interaction with your backend, how to create services and stuff like that. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye.